Welcome back to the Ultraviolet Tide. Today we have the incredible Holly Smith joining us. So, Holly, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Erica. Thanks for having us on here with you.
Before we dive in, I'll give a little bit of background and then turn it over to you to share anything that I forgot to include, which I'm sure will be a lot of things.
Oh,
So, Holly Smith is a registered nurse, skincare enthusiast, and the owner and designer of SkinnVi. While working in aesthetics, she would often hear patients struggle with sun avoidance, especially following skincare treatments like laser resurfacing, chemical peels, and other skin treatments. SkinnVi was born to protect those commonly treated areas that are highly susceptible to premature aging and sun damage. Their first ever piece, the Solara Crop Top, is buttery soft, lightweight, and versatile. The fabrics are sustainably manufactured and eco-friendly, and they even have a new product that they just recently launched that we will dive a little bit more into. But Holly, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and SkinnVi?
yeah, definitely. So I don't want to go too far back and bore anybody too much, but basically I grew up loving to be outside. Didn't really know much about skincare and sun protection. So I feel like in my younger life, my teenage years, my 20s, I really was always outside riding horses. I worked with horses outside. All day, every day. I got sunburned a lot. I tanned. There was a time I remember tanning and I fell asleep and I woke up and my whole chest I totally blistered it. As I got a little older, I went to nursing school, jumped into a couple different things, but then I fell in love with aesthetics and skincare. And it was there that I started really learning about all the things I'd been doing wrong. And I also started seeing my skin changing. It was aging. I was getting lines and wrinkles. I was getting, sunspots and things that I really probably wouldn't have had as early as I started getting them had I taken better care of my skin. But I was also so happy to end up where I was because I was learning, and since I was working there and training, getting these treatments like different lasers and pills and stuff to undo some of that damage. So I felt really happy about that. And while I was there, we had quite a bit of patients who would want to come in and, they do facial treatments was one of our more common areas, but also the hands. And then probably second common was neck and chest concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we would struggle with sometimes is we want to, treat our patients. But the pre-care is you got to avoid sun for a couple of weeks for most of these treatments in order to have like healthy skin that can handle the peel and stuff. You don't want it to be damaged by the sun going into it. And then almost more importantly, when you get a skincare treatment like this, you always want to avoid the sun, right? But you really, really want to avoid the sun because you just penetrated your skin's top layer to, help those cells kind of revitalize. And during that period, they are even more vulnerable to sun damage. And so we would have patients come in and they'd say, oh man, I want to get it done this week, but I'm going on we live in New Mexico. There's one patient I remember specifically was like, I'm going on a rafting trip next week. Like, I'm going to be in the sun. I can't get treated right now because I'm not going to be able to avoid the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And, you spend a decent amount of money
Right.
to revitalize your skin. You really want to make sure that treatment has the best results possible. And the aftercare, the biggest thing you can do is, I'm going to keep saying this word, but like sun avoidance, And then I experienced it myself because I got a chemical peel on my neck and my chest. And I was like, slathered in sunscreen, had a big hat on, and I just wanted to go ride my horse for the day. And I thought, I put it on, I'll be back within 2 hours, But I ran into a friend along the way, talked and hung out a little bit, let her daughter get on my horse, and realized I made a really bad mistake and I totally burned my neck. So it
Oh,
was just
man.
like, it's gotta be like, other options. So that's kind of my background and what led me to wanting to find something to help protect the skin beyond sunscreen. Sunscreen is definitely great and has its place, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more. But
Yeah.
that's kind of where my background came from and what led me to creating SkinnVi.
And I think one of the things that I found that we have a lot of our brand identity in common is with the fact that we want to create sun protection that is, one, can be worn in addition to sunscreen, but also allows you to kind of regain control over your life, whether it be, a skin cancer treatment, recovery, or whether it be, a cosmetic procedure or an aesthetics procedure. Just having a tool that allows you to not think about things and have that peace of mind is really awesome.
That's so well said, Erica. Like that's like hits the nail on the head. And I always think like you can I'm struggling with this right now because I have a brand of sunscreen. I'm not going to say what it is, but like you can have sunscreens, you can have clothing, but if you don't like putting it on, if you don't like how it
Yeah.
looks, if you don't like how it feels, you get to a point where you look at it and you go, I don't want to put that on. So if you
Hmm.
have products and items and good quality, things that feel good and look good while you wear them, it's like an act of self-care that feels good to go out that
Right.
way. Yeah,
A
totally.
100%. And that's the issue that a lot of people have with sun protective apparel is that what's on the market, they don't feel like is one, their style, or two, even designed for them. And that's, I mean,
Yeah.
again, how our stories are very similar is we had a need for a product that wasn't on the market. And we're like, well, we might as well go and do it ourselves because it doesn't seem like anyone else is doing it.
Yeah, and you look around because like I don't know about you, I'm sure it's similar, and I know your story touches like with your mother, right? Having
Mhm.
skin cancer, but it's you start looking on the market for stuff you want, and it
Right.
doesn't exist, and then you go, am I the only
Yes.
one that might want this,
Right.
or is it possible that other people might too? And we could all. I dropped my phone there.
You're good.
It's it's possible that other people would want these products too, though, and we could all really benefit from them, you know?
100%. And one thing I really wanted to dive into is let's talk about the design process. So you had this need and you're like, well, it has to cover my neck and my chest because those are areas that I've personally been burned in the past. So what was that design process like and what were important things for you to keep in mind as you were going through that process?
It's such a funny thing to look back on because it's not that long ago, but it feels so long ago, and it was such a what felt like at the time a big mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Um, I really wanted, after my experience riding my horse, I have my t-shirts, you know, I have long sleeves, I have some sun protective long sleeves, but I really at that moment was like thinking, I just want something lightweight that can I could just slip on underneath any of my clothing pieces. So like even if I have a shirt that sometimes I wear and I show my chest, I want to be able to put something underneath it to protect this area, especially after these treatments, you know, or anytime I'm going to be in the sun for a long period of time. So I knew that I needed a fabric that was going to be, you know, UPF friendly.
Hmm.
I knew that I wanted to find the lightest weight, most breathable fabric I could find so that it
Yeah.
would be effortless to layer and you're not going to feel hot when you're in the sun.
Hmm.
Um, and I knew, like, for me personally, I've got scarves and I ride horses. A lot of people wear kerchiefs in that world, you know, and scarves are wrapped, you know, so anything you can tie around your neck. For me, I hate floppy things and bulky stuff. And it's like I would try to wear them, and then by half the day, I get annoyed with them and I'd, you know, toss them to the side. It's
Right.
just like, this is irritating me. So, and I also have, there's some women, and I'm actually one of them that didn't like to wear scarves and stuff very much because I get that choky feeling.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I got to get a really lightweight fabric. It's got to be really, really comfortable.
Hmm.
Um, maybe stretchy, you know, like just getting these ideas, but I knew I wanted a really high neck, but a lightweight and stretchable um, material so that I could put it on. Because that was the other thing with turtlenecks that I've always hated is when you put it on, you're like
Yeah.
struggling, you know? So it's like
Right.
I want something that like I could just put on and then it will literally feel like a second skin. I don't think about it the rest of the day.
Hmm.
And so it was just putting it's like a symphony, and you know this I'm sure with your brand is it's like you're finding the fabric, you got to find the manufacturer, it's got to hit all these marks. And you know I talked to so many different manufacturers and got samples of fabrics from different countries,
Hmm.
and I don't know, it just all kind of fell together that the fabric we found, like hit way more marks than I could have imagined. For instance, it is the lightest weight, most breathable one we could find, but it's also sustainably made. It's biodegradable. The same country of origin, we found the manufacturer for it. It's a woman-owned business, which is just an extra perk. I love animals. They donate all their scraps to the animal shelters out there.
That's
So it's just
awesome.
like all these marks, and then like the same material is also water performing. It's fast drying. It's stretchy. It's like soft, soft, soft. Like it just feels really good on your skin. And so it's just able to do all these things. And because it's water performing, I didn't have this idea in my head when I was first creating it, but it's great to just slip over a bathing suit top. Like
Hmm.
I like to go paddleboarding down our river here, and it's just you just slip it over and you don't worry about this area burning. And all of our skin is important, of course, but the skin on our neck and chest is actually some of our thinnest skin
Hmm.
that gets exposed to the sun regularly. And I didn't even know this as a nurse, but there's areas on our neck and chest that are thinner than areas on our face. And our face has more sebaceous oil glands than down here does. So it's almost like less, protected and able to protect itself. And I feel like skincare culture as a whole is kind of discovering that, and you see more and more about, don't just put on good moisturizers and stuff for your face, but also be aware of your neck and your chest. And then it goes like,
Hmm.
well, what about your hands? And then it goes down to like your
Right.
arms and, everywhere. And skin
Uh-huh.
cancer doesn't discriminate where it goes.
No.
I've met really lovely women who have had it on their chest and this helps protect them and it feels great. But they've also, other ones are the same, have had it on their legs or their arms or, so many different
Hmm.
areas. So, but this is just
Yeah.
a great option to add to any of your pieces or your swimsuit.
Yeah, and I love that you bring that up because that's how I was introduced to you and this brand was that a lot of our customers who purchase LUV
Yeah,
products, they were sending me pictures and saying, "Oh my gosh, I found two of these brands that I love and I wear my LUV boardwalk dress or shirt and then I wear my Skin
yeah,
V under it and it's just the perfect combination because a lot of these people might have scars there or they might just not want the
yeah,
or the sun exposure there, which is I mean, hey, you do whatever you think is best for you and your body. But I
yeah.
love the idea that people were wearing these products together. And
Me
when
too.
we got on the phone and started talking through these things, we really talked about our whole approach of community over competition and how we were just so thankful that people were finding sun protection and taking care of themselves. We're like, we don't even feel like competitors because there is so much room to wear these products, one, together, but two, just like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are 7 days in a week and you got to wear a different piece each day. So there's plenty of room for
Yes.
different brands and opportunities.
I just got happy chills. Like I can't believe I'm here talking to you because that's like a huge thing to me is it's like I always feel like this is like a Tony Robbins thing that I read a long time ago. It's like the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions or reflected by the quality of your emotions. And so to have like a more collaborative, like family, like versus like I'm always in competition and I want to be the best versus like I want to help the
Yeah.
community, I want to help the world, I want to be positive, and we grow together with people in community.
Mhm.
It feels really cool being here and talking to you.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. And another thing we really agreed on was the fact that, I told you a little bit about my story and how when I first went in for my first ever biopsies that thankfully were
Yeah,
precancerous, I just left without any resources, without any
that's
understanding.
right.
Like, there was nothing that was like, hey, here is how you protect yourself, and here's the products. I
Hmm.
had to do so much researching to find sun protective apparel. I didn't even know that was really a thing. I didn't know what UPF
Yes.
was. I didn't know what any of these things were. And my mindset is always like, if we are continuing to use each other as educational resources, then maybe we can help someone who is in my position figure out how to protect
Yes.
themselves without that mental hurdle.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's like again, it's something you went through and you're not the only one who's gone through that. And
Mhm.
there's so much information out there and then you get, it's like a life-changing, information feedback from your doctor, but nowhere to really go and go, well, what do I do? Or how do I handle
Yeah.
this? Or where do I go from, from
Hmm.
here, and to be able to be somebody that helps others based off of what your experience has been is
Yeah.
not only really cool, but it just speaks to your heart, and who you are. And you're strong, like you've gone through that, and now you're a great resource
Mhm.
for others and part of this community too.
This
It's
community
really cool.
is stronger than anything I've ever witnessed before. And I don't know if you experience this too, but before I really even launched a first product, I was just kind of building on social media and stuff. The feedback we already started getting from the very start from this community was stronger than anything I had witnessed before in my
Yeah,
life.
it really is. And they're just, you just go like, oh, this is like through something like skin cancer, which is terrible, but it's like you connect all over our, states with these amazing women. And I'm sure you've had this too, like connecting people with each other. I had one gal buy a top from me, and then she wrote she's really thankful she just got skin cancer. And I reached out to a couple other women in that community, saying like she's looking for support. She told me that her friends and everywhere she lives, like nobody else has had skin
Okay.
cancer. And they all reached back out and were like, yes, have her talk to us, we're here, we will share what we know, we will support her. So I did, and I'm not sure who's talked yet or not, but it was just really
Hmm.
cool to connect that and help that. It really
Yeah,
was.
no, I love that. That's one of the greatest parts of it. I do want to pivot and talk about all things SkinVi because I want you to tell us a little bit about the products that you have available, including the new hand covers.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yes. So I'm actually wearing my product right now. I thought it'd be very fitting to show it off. So this is the Solara Crop top. I'll kind of pivot up. You can see it crops here. Um, it crops because two ways. It does cover up a bikini better, but it's also lighter weight and more breathable to cover the specific area if you're layering it in the summer. And then I've got the barely there hand covers on. They're made with very big thumb holes. I really tried to go back to that whole comfort thing on what feels good. I
Hmm.
love gloves, like full finger gloves, and down the road we might make some, but I was trying to come up with a product that you don't see as often on the market and is more comfortable, because I find myself in certain situations with gloves, I can't be the only one, where I just feel like they take so much of my dexterity away.
Hmm.
And I don't like that extra feeling. And so I thought, even if it shows a little bit more of your fingers, like you're still more covered, it's still a win.
Hmm.
I've had some other hand covers in the past that I've tried out, and this is a larger thumb hole because when they're smaller, it's like a texture or, just a tugging feeling, but I don't like feeling when this little area is getting pulled or pushed on.
Yeah.
So having like a more open thing, if I'm driving, if I'm riding my horses, this is really comfortable.
Hmm.
And swimming too, like because it's, fast drying, moisture wicking, swim material. Even in Brazil, some of the swimsuits they do make out of this material. So it's kind of like just great for swim day, beach day, boating. And I
Hmm.
also feel like it's elegant. It kind of, goes with the top if you want to do. Um, the other thing I forgot to mention a little bit ago when we were talking about the fabric itself that I found really important as well was it's like I'm probably gonna butcher this name, but it's Oecotech certified, so it's
Hmm.
chemical free. It's deemed safe to like put on a baby, which getting into making finding the right material, I didn't know about this, but like so much clothing, especially the fast fashion
Hmm.
that comes out of like China and stuff, is treated with chemicals that are not good for our bodies. And I really thought this is going to be really good for post-treatment when our skin is more sensitive, to have something that is safe for your skin.
Hmm.
So
I
that's
can
that's my
see.
spiel.
I love it. No, I can see the hand covers. I mean, that is one of those products that I don't know about you, but in my car, I have one of our sun wraps. I have a gator, and I can see the hand
You
covers going right
keep it.
there. Yes.
Yes. I keep a pair in my car too. Yeah. And I,
Hmm.
I need one of your gators because it is a variety of things. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know after this podcast, I'm going to get a couple of your products at the very,
Mhm.
very least. I love the gators and I love the colors you have.
Well,
The
thanks. I
pink and the,
appreciate
yeah.
that. See, there you
They're
go, guys.
beautiful.
Community over competition. We can all help each other out.
Yes, and you don't necessarily want to wear the same thing every day. It's today I feel like wearing this and I've got this. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no,
Yep.
I love your gaiters, absolutely. And I love the color, like the
Makes
color
me
combos
so
that you have.
happy to hear.
They're
And our
beautiful.
process was very similar to yours when we talk about like finding the fabric and what's going to work. I mean, I know I personally had a rash guard that I purchased right when I was first kind of going through all this stuff and I had fresh scars I was trying to protect. And I purchased a
Oh,
long
yeah.
sleeve rash guard and I wore it and I literally thought I was going to pass out from the heat. I was wearing it outside at
Yeah.
the lake and it was so hot. It wasn't breathable. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this my life now that I can't go outside because I don't have anything I can wear? And I was like, I refuse to be 21
Yeah.
years old dealing with this issue. This is not going to be my new reality.
You're like, there's gotta be something better. And
Got to be
you're
something
not the
better.
only one. Must feel that way. So
Yep.
that's so cool.
So I want to talk
Definitely.
about sun safety too, because of course we're both huge sun safety nerds. So I figured it'd be the perfect
Mm.
opportunity to talk about maybe some like myths or some kind of things that you hear constantly that you want to debunk that you're like, oh man, when it comes to sun safety, that is not true. That is not accurate.
Well, I feel like two of the most popular ones is seasonal, right? Well, seasonal in weather. It's like on a cloudy day, you don't need to worry about the sun. And
Right. I
also, I'm
know.
going to put two to one is like cold winter months, you don't need to worry about the sun. Those are
Hmm.
two huge myths that are
Yep.
totally not true. Um, we're always getting UV exposure in the winter and with clouds. So protecting your skin, especially, if you're prone to skin cancer, or protecting against it, is paramount all times of the year for all weather day, all types of weather,
Hmm.
basically. Um, and the other thing, and you've probably had to really delve into this with the sunscreen that you have developed, which congratulations, is not all sunscreens are the same.
Yep.
Some protect against UVA and UVB rays, and
Hmm.
some only protect against one.
Yep.
So that's like, I feel like a big piece of the puzzle, for people to grow aware of with the personal self-education, because we're all really our biggest self-advocates for our health.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think another thing that you mentioned earlier as well was the fact that you can use sunscreen and sun protective apparel together. Like there's no scenario in which
Yes.
you only have to use one or only have to use another. They're supposed to be utilized as tools together to help you,
Yeah.
if you're going to the beach and you want to sit out under an umbrella, but you're so worried about it, well, guess what? You're going to lather up on sunscreen, put your bathing suit on, and then you're
Hmm.
going to wear sun protective apparel on top of it. And then that gives you the tools where if you want to get into the water, well, you can take off your sun protective apparel, but you still have your sunscreen on. Then you go back to your chair
Yeah.
and it's just, it's options and it's opportunity and
Options.
there's no right or wrong. It's just however you
Yeah.
choose to best protect yourself.
What you feel best doing and what feels best to you is you're going to do
Hmm.
it more often. You're more likely to have a daily practice, I guess, of protecting your skin if you have the tools that make it easy,
Hmm.
right? And any
100%.
combo of them. There's some days that I put my Solara top on, I'm like, oh, I feel so good, I'm doing self-care. And then there's some days where I'm like, I want to show my neck. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
to cover it up. Like, I have both days, or if I'm going to be out, longer, I'm like, okay, this way I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to pack my sunscreen with me on me. But yeah, there's absolutely days where you go, maybe I need sunscreen today. And
Hmm.
I think it's nice. And then sometimes you don't want to wear sunscreen every day. You get tired of that
Yep.
too. So
Hmm.
having both, I think, is really, it's going to give you the best long-term results.
I always
And I
say,
think huh?
I was going to say, I always say with little kids too, when parents are trying to, get kids to reapply sunscreen, just putting a UPF shirt on them is a lot easier than trying to chase them around.
Oh, yeah. For me, it's the convenience, and we're all different, but it's remembering that every 2 hours sometimes, especially in the delicate areas, it's like,
Hmm.
okay, if you just cover up your kiddo or you cover up, areas that you're really trying to protect, um, you're not having to remember as much
Mm-hmm. Right.
to wear it, or smaller areas. And sun protective clothing is also economical to me because it's like once you have it, you have it, and you can usually use it a lot, for quite
Yeah.
a long time. With
Mm-hmm.
sunscreen, especially the higher qualities, they're expensive. So to lather up everywhere consistently, in the long term, you are saving more money by actually covering yourself up with UPF clothing,
Mm-hmm.
versus buying sunscreen all the time.
Yep.
Because bottles are not cheap, and they go fast,
They do go
especially if you're out a
fast.
lot.
Yep, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely have experienced that. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was another big point. I might be jumping ahead of you, Erica,
Go
but
ahead.
the big thing to me coming from the aesthetics world, but it's funny because like skincare or sun protection is important whether you are primarily interested in, slowing down the aging process, and not even slowing it down, just not accelerating it through sun damage, really. Or, you're preventing skin cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sun protection is so important to that. And it's like I've talked to dermatologists, I've, read on my own, but it's really like the best thing you can do for your skin. If you have your skincare routine, skincare products, all of that, it time after time again, you'll read about, or dermatologists will say, like, if you had to take every product away, what would be the most important one for you to keep? And
Mm-hmm.
time after time again, the answer is sunscreen, i.e., sun protection.
Yep.
If you can have the best, you can lotion yourself up every day, put creams and oils on, but if you go out and you get sunburned every day,
Yeah.
they can only undo that damage so much. It's really up to us
Mm-hmm.
to protect our skin.
Yep, I completely agree. And thankfully, there are more and more products like SkinnVi out on the market to help us do just that. And I know people listening, they're going to want to connect with you. They're going to want to follow you on Instagram and visit your website. So, where are those resources where they can follow you?
Oh, yes. So our website, and you can learn more and see more photos of how to wear our Solara top, and examples of styles and stuff, would be at skinvi.com, which is www.skinvi, skinvi.com. You can also find us on Amazon. Just probably type in our brand name, in your search bar, and it'll pop up. We've got our Barely There hand covers on Amazon, as well as our Solara top. Um, and we are talking to different med spas right now about getting our products to be carried inside of med spas. We've got several that carry our brochures and, information about us. So if you own a med spa, or if have a med spa where you'd like to see our products, talk to them or talk to us, and I'd love to, make our product more readily available post treatment. You can get your treatment and then say, oh, I need this, take it home with you, and be covered up.
Yep, just take some of the thought process out of the whole process. You know what you need and you're good to go. But we'll
Yeah.
also link all of those in the show notes so that people can just click and connect with you. But Holly, thank you so much for joining me today.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Thank you so much for, inviting us into your community and helping us share, more awareness.